My name is Jason Miller. I'm an assistant professor of building science in the Department of Technology and Environmental Design here at Appalachian State. And for the Solar Decathlon Europe project effort, I will be acting as the design director, in charge primarily of coordinating the architectural design, industrial design, interior design, and systems design of the home, and bringing that all together. The Solar Decathlon is an event that was started as the brainchild of Richard King at the United States Department of Energy, who wanted to create a collegiate competition that would simultaneously serve to educate the general public about the potential of renewable energies, in particular solar power. So in 2002, they initiated an invitation-only competition to involve university teams to design homes that would be solar powered and would be competed on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. And that competition has kind of exploded in terms of interest within the academic world, but also within the design and construction industries. Beginning in 2009, the competition expanded. The United States Department of Energy, in cooperation with the Spanish government and now the French government, created the Solar Decathlon Europe. And that has met with a great deal of success as well, and so it is a growing event where you challenge intercollegiate teams to design a building that will produce at least as much energy as it uses, and the hope is that it produces more, so that you're actually creating an energy plus building that will educate the public on the possibilities of these technologies, but also different methods or alternative lifestyles that can be harnessed through those designs. The 2011 competition was, in many respects, learning to drive without ever having seen a car. We were consistently learning as we went, and so the 2011 competition was invaluable because we made some really smart decisions in terms of what we wanted to do with the building, and in terms of how we would transport it, in terms of the way we would construct it. We used no heavy equipment. We drove the building as a series of trailers and bolted them together on the competition site. And now we are gearing our efforts toward the 2014 European competition, thinking with winning in mind. And that process has started to change the way we approach the project, even at this very beginning stage, in the way that we approach the design, where we're going to approach the documentation, when we begin construction, when we hope to have the building completed so that we can test it, take it apart, ship it, and reassemble it on the competition site in Versailles, ready to compete and ready to win. Where you have a bunch of architects working with these students in the design studio, we have a certain perspective that comes from that process. But to see the perspective of other students in different disciplines or other faculty or just the general public is really helpful for us to know where the mark is, what we're trying to hit, so that we can develop a prototype house that, similar to the solar homestead, can eventually be made into an economically viable, marketable solution that we can construct. We're going to provide a forum, at least for our students' feedback, that essentially would nominate People's Choice Award, honorable mention, which project has the best integration of sustainable technologies or renewable energy systems, et cetera, et cetera. And while those things are valuable, it's really more of a way to drum up interest in the project on a campus-wide level and see how other people react. What we do and what our emphasis is as an institution is very different than what the University of Angers brings to the table. They have programs that are exceptional in life cycle costing analysis, hospitality management. So for public exhibition and tours, they can provide an inordinate amount of expertise. Control systems engineering for the building. They have a renowned botany program for plants, living systems that we can incorporate. But they don't have an architecture program. They don't have an engineering program. Nor do we, but we've gone through that before. We know how to solve these answers within our Department of Technology and Environmental Design. We have economics and marketing, we have communications, and so we have a nice balance of what each university can bring to the table in terms of expertise and student energy, and put those two things together to work well to realize the project. We refer to this project as Maison Reciprocity. which is a combination of the French word for house, and reciprocity has a root in it with city, and so we talk about it as a city house, which is very different than the farmhouse of the solar homestead. But the key is in that word reciprocity, the idea of reciprocal relationships, of balance, of looking at an organism, if you will, all right? And the building is really an organism. It has bones of structure, it has systems in terms of electrical and plumbing and mechanical that work very similar to our own bodies. It has a skin and an envelope. It has a life cycle. It's born, it goes through a mature phase, and then it croaks. And we have to understand how to maintain those things. So when we talk about this project and we keep using this word reciprocity, the reason for that is understanding that you can't design a building and then put the systems on it. You can't design the systems without designing the building. And seeing these things as happening in balance and happening with one another informs a better building response that is simultaneously better performing, but is also more livable. And so from a design and construction standpoint, that's the genesis of the project's name and what we hope to achieve when we compete in 2014.